For those of us who have watched this show since the 1990s, what happened recently with Jason is a direct echo of decades of history. Yet it feels like a complete insult to the character history we have come to know. Back in the day, a tragic accident stripped away a golden boy and gave us a stoic enforcer who walked away from his biological family to build a new life based on an unbreakable code of loyalty with Sunny. Now, we are being asked to believe that this very same man is simply walking away from the mob, walking away from the brotherhood he bled for, just to live a quiet life. If you ask me, as someone who has lived and breathed these storylines through the golden era of soap operas, this surface narrative is nothing more than a carefully constructed illusion. The writers want us to accept that Jason has suddenly developed an overwhelming desire for a peaceful retirement to protect his son Danny. While his profound love for Danny is absolutely unquestionable, the idea that Jason would abruptly abandon Sunny without a deeper, darker reason completely contradicts long-term storytelling. I firmly believe that the true reason for this sudden departure has absolutely nothing to do with a desire for peace, and everything to do with a highly classified, incredibly dangerous mission orchestrated by the International Intelligence Agency. When Jason was finally released from his agonizing captivity, it was not an act of mercy, nor was it a simple pursuit of justice. The agency does not simply let a lethal, highly effective asset walk free without pulling the invisible strings attached to his back. They recognize that Jason is the absolute perfect weapon, a man whose reputation in the criminal underworld is legendary, making him the only person capable of infiltrating a terrifying new threat without raising immediate suspicion. The intelligence agency has a long, sordid history of manipulating our favorite legacy character, and they are undoubtedly applying immense, suffocating pressure on Jason right now. They presented him with a choice that was no choice at all. Either turn his back on Sunny and infiltrate a massive criminal network, or watch his loved ones suffer the catastrophic consequences. Jason is not undertaking this covert mission voluntarily. He is a man who has always operated on his own terms, bound only by his fierce loyalty to Sunny and Carly. To force a man of that caliber to betray his core principles, the agency had to find his ultimate vulnerability. And that vulnerability is, without a doubt, Danny. If you look closely at the emotional weight Jason carries in every single scene since his return, you can clearly see the heavy burden of a father protecting his child from an invisible sniper. The intelligence agency is holding a devastating secret or a lethal threat directly over Danny. Jason knows all too well that if he refuses to comply with their demands, the very people he once thought were allies could turn Danny into a prime target. We have watched Jason sacrifice his own happiness, his romances, and his freedom time and time again to protect the children in his life. He would walk through fire for Danny, and the agency is ruthlessly exploiting that unconditional love to turn him into their ultimate undercover operative. Because the stakes are so unimaginably high, Jason is forced to endure this agonizing burden in complete and utter silence. He cannot utter a single word of truth to Sunny, Carly, or even Danny. This is the tragic beauty of his character integrity. He will allow the people he loves most to hate him, to doubt him, and to feel deeply betrayed by him, as long as it keeps them safe. We are witnessing a heartbreaking isolation where Jason must look Sunny in the eye and lie, knowing that every falsehood fractures a brotherhood that has survived decades of mob wars, kidnappings, and betrayals. Carly is left to watch him walk a path she cannot understand, and Danny is left confused by a father who seems to have fundamentally changed overnight. The primary target of this coerced mission is none other than Jens. While Jens might currently be sitting behind bars, any veteran viewer knows that a prison cell is merely a minor inconvenience for a true criminal mastermind. Jens is not just a rogue criminal, he is the brilliant architect of a vast, deeply entrenched underground network that includes corrupt businessmen, ruthless criminals, and most alarmingly, rogue agents who have betrayed the intelligence agency itself. His power has not diminished in the slightest. It has simply gone dormant, waiting patiently for the right moment to strike. Jens is holding onto explosive evidence that possesses the power to completely dismantle and destroy the agency from the inside out. The intelligence agency does not just want Jens to serve time in a penitentiary. They are desperate and terrified. They need to completely eradicate his entire network and identify every single rogue agent who has crossed over to the dark side. They cannot send in a traditional spy because Jens's inner circle would spot a government operative from a mile away. They need a man whose hands are already dirty, a man whose reputation as a ruthless enforcer is undisputed across the globe. They need Jason. By forcing Jason to publicly sever ties with Sunny, the agency has created the absolute perfect cover story. Jason is now perceived as a free agent, a highly skilled enforcer who is disillusioned with his former boss and actively looking for a new empire to serve. Jason will have to meticulously craft the illusion that he has turned to the dark side. He will slowly and methodically approach the individuals who are closest to Jens, offering his lethal services and his unparalleled expertise. He will have to convince the criminal underworld that he is no longer the loyal soldier we have watched for 30 years, but a mercenary willing to do Jens's bidding for the right price. Jason will likely allow everyone in town to believe that he has become Jens's new right-hand man, absorbing the hatred and disgust of his former friends, all while secretly gathering the catastrophic evidence the agency desperately needs to survive. The psychological toll this covert mission will take on Jason is immense and heartbreaking. Imagine the sheer agony of watching Sonny, a man who has been his brother in arms through countless tragedies, look at him with pure disdain and suspicion. Sonny might truly believe that his most trusted confidant has finally betrayed him, severing a bond that defined a generation of television. Carly, who has always been Jason's emotional anchor and part of a legendary dynamic that rivaled any traditional super couple, will be devastated, believing that he is actively destroying his own life for no good reason. And Danny, the very reason Jason is enduring this waking nightmare, might begin to resent the father he thought he finally had back. Jason must swallow all of this pain, knowing that a single slip, a single moment of honesty, would cause the entire undercover operation to instantly collapse. But as we have learned from decades of brilliant long-term storytelling, the surface villain is rarely the ultimate threat. I strongly suspect that Jason is going to uncover a horrifying truth deep within this shadow network. Jens is not the one pulling the strings. Jens, for all his chaotic revenge plots and grand schemes, is merely a pawn on a much larger, far more sinister chessboard. The true mastermind, the puppet master controlling this entire criminal empire from the shadows, is someone far more dangerous and far more insidious than a simple mobster. The real boss is likely a former intelligence agent who went rogue many years ago. This is someone who intimately knows the agency's protocols, their blind spots, and most terrifyingly, they know Jason's entire history. This mastermind knows exactly how Jason thinks, how he operates in the field, and they are fully aware of his current undercover status. This flips the entire narrative on its head, turning a standard infiltration mission into a deadly psychological thriller. Jason believes he is the apex predator silently stalking Jens's network, but in reality, he is the prey being carefully monitored by a phantom from the agency's dark past. This creates an atmosphere of unparalleled danger and suspense. Jason is walking blindly into a trap that has been specifically designed for him by a mastermind who anticipates his every move. Every piece of evidence he gathers, every connection he makes within Jens's inner circle, is being scrutinized by a rogue agent who is always 3 steps ahead. If this mastermind decides to expose Jason's true allegiance to the criminal underworld, Jason's life will be forfeit in an instant. But as we veteran viewers know all too well, Jason does not fear death. His only true fear is failing to protect the people he loves. When the rogue mastermind inevitably realizes that Jason is closing in on the truth, they will not target Jason directly. They know that physical pain means nothing to him. Instead, they will go after the one thing that can shatter his soul. They will aim their crosshairs directly at Danny. This is the precise moment where the entire storyline will explode into a spectacular climax. The agency's leverage over Jason will instantly evaporate the second his son is in actual imminent danger. Jason will be forced into an impossible corner, having to choose between completing the mission to protect the world from Jens's network, or breaking every single rule to save his boy. We all know what Jason will choose. He will burn the entire intelligence agency to the ground to keep Danny safe. His desperate need to protect his son will be the ultimate catalyst that forces Jason to step out of the shadows and return to the only man who commands enough power, loyalty, and resources to help him wage this impossible war. Sonny? Jason will have to return to the mob world, but this time, the dynamics will be entirely different. He will not just be Sonny's enforcer, he will be a man carrying explosive, world-shattering secrets that could completely upend the entire power structure of the city. As a veteran viewer, these are the complex, emotionally devastating narratives that keep me deeply invested in this show after all these years. We have watched these characters evolve through unimaginable triumphs and tragedies, and seeing Jason pushed to his absolute limits is a testament to the enduring power of this drama. The writers are setting the stage for an epic confrontation that honors the rich, intricate history of these legacy characters while pushing them into terrifying new territory. No matter how dark the storyline gets, or how much pain our beloved characters must endure, my passion for their journey remains absolutely unwavering. We are in for a breathtaking ride, and I, for one, cannot wait to see how Jason navigates this treacherous storm to find his way back home.